So the Clippers, they acquired Keon Johnson at number 21 from the Knicks for Quentin Grimes at number 25 and the Detroit Pistons 2024 second rounder. They acquired Jason Preston at number 33 from the Magic for Detroit's 2026 second rounder and cash. They acquired Brandon Boston Jr. at number 51 from the Pelicans for Sacramento's 2022 second rounder. It's essentially fake. It's top 24 protected, top 54 protected, excuse me. They re-signed Kawhi Leonard to a 4-year, $176.3 million deal, player option on that final season. They signed Justice Winslow to a 2-year, $8 million deal that's fully guaranteed. They re-signed Reggie Jackson to a 2-year, $21.6 million deal that's fully guaranteed, 15% trade bonus. They re-signed Nicolas Batum to a 2-year, $6.5 million deal. This is a non-bird deal that has a player option on that second season. They traded Patrick Beverley, Daniel Otoro, and Rajon Rondo to Memphis for Eric Bledsoe. They signed Isaiah Hartenstein to a training camp deal, signed Moses Wright and Harry Giles to training camp deals as well. Notable subtractions, obviously, Daniel Otoro, Rajon Rondo, Patrick Beverley, DeMarcus Cousins, who remains unsigned, and they waived Yogi Ferrell. One, did I miss anything there? Or two, what grade did you give the Clippers, Grant?
I don't think you missed anything. And this is, I think, my only straight A in the West. And I was sort of surprised by it because I think initially I was a little like, oh, are we really? I mean, this is how neurotic I think I be sometimes. It's like, oh, we really gave Kawhi that player option on year 4 with his health, concerns and all this. It's like, yeah, you gave Kawhi the player option on year 4. Of course you did. That's fine. But other than that, like, I mean, you brought back Kawhi, sure. The Reggie Jackson deal, I think, is fantastic, and the Batum deal, same thing. I think Winslow is absolutely. We're talking about flyers on the last team. I think Winslow is absolutely someone you take a flyer on. He's 25, and he's had 2 years where he shot it really well from 3, and he's proved he can essentially play a point guard role. But he's wing sized, which is perfect for how the Clippers really excelled playing small ball in the playoffs last year. It's just like, yeah, it's the cash outlay for the chance that he's going to be a guy that what he was when he averaging 12, 5, and 4 and shooting 38% from deep, and he's even when he's been injured and played these tiny seasons, his defense has always been good. So I think $8 million over a couple years, that's fantastic. I think Bledsoe is undervalued now because he was so pilloried for. He failed in the big stage for the Bucks and he just didn't care in New Orleans, but now he's basically an expiring deal because 22-23 is non-guaranteed. He's a great defender still. I think he's so much better than Patrick Beverley, just all told, even if he's not the shooter that Beverley is. Bledsoe at least isn't going to foul himself out of the game and put the opponent in the bonus after like 4 minutes in the first quarter. Beverley is the biggest hack in the league. Like, that's a statistical fact. Per minute, and that hurts his team. I don't care how hard he tries. So I just thought that they did the big things with Kawhi. They did the medium things with Jackson and Batum coming back. I think even Keon Johnson. I think just let's get the most athletic guy on the planet, and maybe he'll learn. Maybe he can play basketball. Like, what a luxury for a team that has all these stars and big names and deep rotation. So I don't really have anything bad to say about the Clippers offseason. So they get a flat A from me. And I didn't really think very hard about, any other grade for them.
Yeah, and look, I gave them an A as well. Their offseason was just, and so you talk about the Kawhi deal. I almost view it as a positive that they weren't in this 1+1 situation with him, because then there would have always run the risk, however unlikely, that you were paying him to rehab on your dime and then he would just leave. So
Yeah.
now that you have him sort of locked down long term, you can more confidently go about building your roster, and you can sort of do what you did this summer, where it's, hey, we're going to probably invest and take some flyers, and maybe they'll actually play Keon Johnson this year. I love that move for them, by the way. I thought it was what the Knicks should have done, even though I knew they take a bigger swing, and they did that on multiple fronts, even with Brandon Boston Jr. I think
Yeah.
if you wanted to go A minus, you did give up 2 seconds from Detroit, that could be nice, but Detroit also has Cade Cunningham now, and they've proven that they can make some nice moves. So it doesn't look like they overpaid for anything. Nicolas Batum led them in regular season minutes last year, and you got to keep him on the non-bird deal. One of the biggest bargains, if not the biggest bargain in free agency, when you look at production bang for his buck. Does that come back to bite them next summer when he could be an early bird free agent where there's sort of that, like I said before, wink, wink agreement under the table? Who knows? But as of right now, that looks fantastic. The only move, and Reggie Jackson, based on how he played for you, to keep him, and it's a short term commitment too, and it's really just not even that much from the team's perspective. That's big. The thing I'm most, and also I like the Hartenstein ad. Like I'm just surprised that he remained unsigned based off what he showed in Cleveland towards the end of last season. However, the only move I would have some lack of confidence in is the Beverly for basically Eric Bledsoe swap. That's just how I viewed it because Rondo was just a net negative for them. I'm not as confident in Bledsoe being that big of an upgrade over Beverly because he does. If Beverly can at least hit his set threes. Bledsoe isn't going to guarantee you that. And if you need to give him the ball, I do think the Clippers can provide him with enough spacing to go to work. But he slipped offensively last year. He slipped defensively last year, and so you're banking on that needing to come back. Maybe he's more competitive, more engaged, just better overall on an actually good team. That's not the Pelicans. There's still a slight roll of the dice there. However, you did consolidate roster spots as part of that trade. And in a year without Kawhi, you lowered your tax bill as the result of the incoming salary. That's not something I necessarily care about, but I understand what they're thinking. And Bledsoe has the higher ceiling than Beverly, even if there's more of a question mark on what he might give you on a game-to-game basis right now. And so this was just, under the circumstances, I thought was a great offseason for the Clippers.
Yeah, I agree. And look, Bledsoe's not a good shooter. Shot 34.1% last year from deep, 34.4 the year before. Like you can live with that. I'm sure it's higher on catch and shoots. I was trying to look
How do you
that
do in
up
the
while you were
playoffs?
talking. Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's what you got Reggie Jackson for. Yeah, he was a little bit better than that, as just about everybody is on catch and shoot and pull ups. But yeah, he's not there to shoot. I think Bledsoe is objectively a better defender than Beverly too. It's just he's not gonna shoot it quite as well. But it's not like if he's gonna play a reserve role. I don't know. I don't think maybe is he gonna start? We haven't even talked about that. That would be interesting. Maybe he will. But his shots should all be very high quality. I would assume in this offense. I'm good with Eric Bledsoe.
I would think it would
I'm
be.
going.
I'm assuming their starting five is going to be Reggie, Paul George, Terrence Mann, Marcus Morris, and then a Zubats. I'm assuming maybe Nicolas Batum has worked in there. I think Batum would be more likely to start than Bledsoe at this point.
Man, they got some options. That's a good team. That was easy. A couple of flat A's.